And hello, everybody, and welcome to Magical Journey. I am your host, Daniel Cahoon, and um, I just want to first of all, I want to start out by thanking you guys for showing up tonight. Sin, you are here, and it's a good night for you to be here because you know who's here, right? So, um, before I get started, though, there's a couple of things I want to do. First of all, guys, this I know there's glare on from the lights, but this is my new mug from my cup from Jenny and Mike from Mystical Mountain Creations. I know Pam put the link up to that just a moment ago. I love it. Thank you guys for doing that. It was just amazing. It is my favorite cup. I got water in it for tonight. We're good. Thank you very much. Mm. And it's so pretty, and it makes the water taste so much better. It was made with love. Let me start out before we get started tonight because I'm excited. I'm always excited about the show. Don't get me wrong, but tonight I'm kind of super excited. Um, I want to, if I can, once again let you guys know about magicaljourney.com. It is a one-stop shop for all things Magical Journey, including magical merch. I got some of it on my head right now. It's a nice place for it to be, considering it's a cat. Um, there's also a couple of other things on that site, and starting this week, at some point, I'm going to make the modifications so that each week I will update. Hold me accountable, Pam. Each week I will update the page that's going to be the blog page for the podcast, and you will get a link. There will be a link on that blog to the current podcast for that week. That was a suggestion from my guest tonight, and I'm very, very pleased and grateful for that suggestion. The other thing that I want to tell you guys about as we get ready to start the show tonight is Patreon. Okay. You can find the link to my Patreon on the website. Uh, what's As I start to progress and work into that more, there's going to be like only the only place you're going to find the content that's on Patreon is on Patreon. There will not be any repeating of content anywhere else. So, to get some more of the behind the scenes, some deep dive into the stories that we have on here, to get information you're just not going to find any place else. Please do check it out. There is a free tier and a paid tier. Obviously, the paid tier is going to have some things the free tier doesn't have, but you will have access to information either way and content either way that you won't get anywhere else. So it's very important for you guys to remember the Patreon account. So that's enough about me, because my guest tonight, I'm really excited to bring on. You guys are going to be excited to hear from him, I know, because this man's passion for what he does is insane. And I am talking about nobody else other than my friend, my boy, Austin Lawrence.
What is going on?
Hey, dude, I've been waiting forever for this to happen.
Yeah, me too. It seems like you just told me about it yesterday, but at the same time, like 7 months ago. It's weird.
God, I know, right? So before we get started, for anybody that is unfortunate enough not to know who you are, give us a little bit about you and what you do.
So I'm mainly a paranormal investigator. I like going to these places that are not talked about as much, and kind of bringing out some of the stories and history. And there's a lot of stuff out there that exists that just doesn't get the attention that it deserves, and I like uncovering that stuff.
Right. And we're going to get into, um, you're also an author. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's the thing.
Yeah. That is a thing. Come on. You probably put as much like passion into your writing as you do everything else. So yes, it's a thing.
Yeah, that's something that happens when I feel like it happens, and then I forget about it. So, you know,
You know, well, those of us that are around you will remind you. I'm like, wow, everything today has been like sliding and falling. It's really weird. So let's let me ask you something here because first of all, for those that don't know yet, so you have a project you're working on, right?
yeah, absolutely, the Dead Chronicles.
Okay. So we're gonna work on bringing that into the conversation because so I want you guys to be aware though this show, like when it pops, you gotta watch it. I've seen clips. I know what this is about. Well, but let me ask you this though. So, what was the first thing that really inspired you to get started with doing the style of like your content? It's so very different.
That is a good question. I mean, I was lucky enough to grow up on kind of like the season one, season two, season three era of Ghost Hunters, which in my opinion was the prime. And then after that, everything just kind of fell off, and I just kind of fell out of it. And I stopped consuming pretty much all paranormal content, except for haunted discoveries now. And so it just kind of became a thing where looking back at that, what I liked about that, but more so what I like. So I'm not basing it off of what everyone else is doing because I don't watch them. I don't know what they're doing. So I just decided to create something that I would enjoy personally.
Wow, yeah, yeah. That's like I think that's the hardest thing for some people to do is try to find because everybody says there's nothing new under the sun. So trying to figure out new ways of tackling things probably really difficult for some people. I know it was um, in the beginning. I was kind of like, okay, what am I going to do?
Well, it's really easy. Like when people ask me about the books, I've never read a book in my life. So like, how'd you do this? It's like I don't know. I just put stuff together. And I threw it out there. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know. And when you don't consume paranormal content, it's really easy to put something out that's new because you don't know what's out there. So it's new to me. It's just there's not that notion in your mind of, oh, I need to do this, I need it to look like this, I need it to sound like this. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna do something and we're gonna see what happens. you know
It's very interesting. I like there's a large group of my friends who do not read. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. But like some of you guys just don't like to read. I get it. It's just alien to me.
I just can't. I've got ADD, ADHD, some combination of the alphabet, and it does not allow me to read. It doesn't allow me to remember things. So even if I do read, I'll read a page and I'll totally forget what I just read, and I'd have to go back and read it again. I'm just like, I can't. I'm a very visual person.
I get that. I get that. So when did you realize that this project would be a true labor of love for you?
Honestly, I think I realized that. I realized it was gonna be a labor of love day one. I just didn't realize how much love she was gonna need. So it became a lot more involved and a lot more intensive than I thought. She's very needy, this project. But I knew if I was going to do this, I had to do it. I had to do it right. And,
Mm.
as you go, you realize how much you have to put in.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm honestly, I think the thing that's going to be most surprising to people is just like I said, how different your approach really is to the majority of paranormal researchers, even your philosophy on, and we're going to get into this because I think this is really important. Um, your philosophy on how to approach investigating and how to approach the stories behind the people or the people behind the stories.
Right.
Um, I think there's a little bit of time that needs to get at least that needs to be devoted to that. But I do want to know though, before we talk about that,
Uh-huh.
how do you choose the places that you're going to investigate? Is it because of the intuition, the history, personal stories? What draws you to those places?
Yeah, it's funny. I was literally just thinking about this like a couple hours ago. Um, Mainly the way that I choose locations is first I want to find the history, and then I want to speak with the owners and see, what kind of people they are, and if they are the type of owners who care about the history and things like that. Then I love going to those locations. There's one place that I filmed for season 2 at, and I went there because of these crazy paranormal claims. I mean, we're talking about stuff levitating. We're talking about full-bodied apparitions. I mean, everything are the claims there. And we went there, investigated for an entire night, didn't hear a floorboard creak, nothing. And so I got done. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Because the history here is interesting, but I don't care enough about this history. Like, it was owned by some rich guy who ran the coal mines. Like, what am I going to do with that? I don't really
Right.
care. So that kind of reinforced, my idea and ideology that the hauntings don't really matter. They're just a way to connect with the history. So it's got to be history first. If it's got an interesting story to tell and I capture no evidence, it doesn't matter. I have an interesting story to tell.
Right, right. It's very interesting because that you say that because I went through this period of time where, like, after doing investigation and research for a long period of time, that I just kind of bogged down on it. And then
Yeah.
I met a guy named Troy Taylor um, and I didn't actually meet him personally, but I met his work through friends of mine who sort of was associated with him. And he spends a lot of time basking in the history of
Yeah.
these things. And that's what kind of reopened because I love history. So that kind of reopened my interest real quickly. So I get what you're saying about that. Um, before ask some of the other questions I've really got lined up for you, I really want to talk about your relationship with the story of the people and the people that you investigate because you've you've got something that impresses me highly in the way that you do things.
Yeah. I mean, the way that I look at it is if these are spirits, if these are ghosts, and if these are people, and we are going into their homes, we should be completely respectful of that. First and foremost, you should not be telling them what to do. You should not be asking them to perform tricks. Because if you were locked up in a place and I asked you to do tricks all the time, you probably wouldn't be too happy. And you're taking the whole human aspect out of it. At that point, they're a dancing monkey. And so for me, it's going in and realizing that if these are spirits, it's a person. Whether or not I can see them, it's totally irrelevant. Whether or not they're still here living and breathing, that's totally irrelevant. It's simply a person. And there's so much, especially if you look people from a period of time, whether it's good or bad, there's so much that we can learn from these people and learn from their history. And to be in these locations with, some of these places have thousands of people go through every year. if you choose me to interact with or to tell me something over other people, that means so much. Like that is, I mean, you talk about how they have to draw energy and all this stuff. Like if they have limited energy, you're taking your energy and you're giving it to me. That is so meaningful. And unfortunately, some people just don't see it that way. Like it's so powerful.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. You know, I have to admit, like I use tools like the K2 and whatever. I've started getting to the point where I use them more for confirmation
Exactly.
than I do anything. Partly because of what you're talking about, the idea of treating them like human beings, not trying to treat them like a trained animal. Now, I will say that everybody has their own way of doing research, and it's okay if you choose to learn, over time to do things however you do them, or stick where you're at. That is you, guys. We're not here to, tell you that you're right or wrong, but we do have some different views some out there in the community about these things. I think it's very important for us to understand that they are us and we are them.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And there's, I mean, I'm not going to bash equipment. I use very little, but in a place where I may not be getting what I feel like I should be getting, then maybe I will pull something out because maybe this is a device that they're used to seeing. Because I can't imagine being from the year 1900 and someone pulling out this device in front of me and being like, whoa, what is this future thing? Like, what is going on? So maybe it's something that they're comfortable using, or maybe it's something that they know how to use. It's whatever. At the same time, we need to facilitate them as they facilitate us, right? So if there's an easier way for them to be able to communicate, by all means. So, I'm the type of person who says, well, if you can knock, if that's easier, if you can talk, that'd be amazing. I use an EDI meter. If you can touch that, that'd be great. Throw out the options. But yeah, I just don't see going into a place and saying, you better do this or else what? You're in their home. Come on now.
Yeah, see, this is where we start agreeing strongly. Literally, I mean, because they will stop dealing with you. I mean, I've literally seen them do things like, hey, you want me to play with that flashlight? Okay. And the next thing you know, the flashlight explodes, literally.
Right. And then all of a sudden it's a demon.
Yeah.
No, you just pissed off a person. What do you expect?
Right. And that's the other thing that I find really annoying is when people demonize every single thing. Because we don't know. We don't know. And that's part of the reason why we're even investigating and researching, is to find the answers. Everybody has their journey, whether it's magical or not. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there. This one, I'm really curious how you're going to answer this. And when I thought about this, I was like, I know this is going to be funny and amusing to ask if I'm not careful and I hit the funny bone on here. I'm sorry. Can you walk us through a typical day when you're on the site, on a haunted location site?
Okay. Typical day. Are we saying, like, if I'm going there to film, what is a typical day?
Yeah. What's a typical day like for you on location?
Okay. It's chaos. Usually starts with shotgunning about 7 monsters. get it there. The first thing I like to do is just walk through the place and just feel it out, because there's certain places, like I talked to you about the place I just visited. There are certain places where you can definitely get different vibes and you can pick up on a lot of things. So that's really important. A lot of times your best piece of equipment isn't something you bought off Ghost Stop for $500. It's yourself. It's just your body, because we're talking about energy. You can interact with energy because you are energy. So just pay attention to that. So I like to walk through, do all that, and then usually try to get an interview shot. So that goes to bringing in the camera, setting everything up, me saying some words I shouldn't, and shooting B-roll. Then I have to shoot my parts, and then we finally get to unpack all the ghost hunting stuff and start investigating for. So it's usually a good 12, 14-hour day, and then crashing for about 3 hours, and then doing it again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As a matter of fact, we had this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
And honestly, I get asked all the time, like, when does he sleep? He doesn't.
No.
And then of course, I got Lydia. You know what? That's why I ask it, because it was a loaded question. I knew that. We know that. Nobody else may know that, but this circle knows. That's right. Okay, so let's go back for a minute to your interaction with them, because this is something, and I'm trying to read these questions more so than try to memorize them, because when I was generating these questions, I had specific thoughts in my mind. There were things, that images and so forth of conversation that we've had that came up. Was the most unexpected moving experiences that you had while recording?
Oh man, most unexpected and moving. So two come to mind instantly. The first one was more so of like a confirmation type of thing. So this would have been a year or two ago. I was doing a project called Strangely Haunted, and we were filming with the wonderful, the amazing, the talented, the beautiful Cinch Hill. At a place called the Commodore Hotel. And we were up in this room that was supposedly haunted, and I was in there by myself, trying to communicate, getting a little something, but not a whole lot. And at one point, I said, what?
Oh, I was like, who do we have in here? Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Keep going. I'm just like thinking out loud.
So at one point I just kind of said, I'm not here to run out on you, because they said they've had guests run out of the room. I'm just here to hear your story, talk to you, communicate. I want to speak with you. I care about you. And then when I went back later, I captured a woman's voice and said, "Thank you very much." And that was really impactful right there, because then I got to thinking, if you're a spirit who is trapped in a location for how many ever years, and you really want to get something out, and every time you try to get that out, people ran out screaming, that's got to suck. That's got to be the deepest of depressions right there for eternity, or who knows how long. So that really, really impacted me. The second one is the most recent one, and that was part of the whole season 1 of Dead Chronicles, the whole story about Ida, who was the reason why I started this whole project. And we had eventually went down to show her this painting that Mark made. And we go down there, and I just pull up my phone and just decide to record. And I'd never, ever captured anything in this room, down in the basement, nothing, period, ever. And so I was just going down to the basement to where she stayed to try to show her this painting. And as we walked in the door, after I came back and watched the video again, a woman's voice comes through and just says, "I'm here," in like this happy tone. And that really sank in too. That was really powerful.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's like we've talked about this, and it's still kind of hard to hear sometimes because honestly,
Yeah,
like for the same reasons that you're talking about, it's like, from their perspective, it's different than just like, oh wow, I got something from them. No, you didn't just get something from them. It was a gift from them. And
exactly.
that is
It's almost like when Sen calls you. It's a
oh my god.
gift.
It is a gift. So for those who are kind of like trying to put all this together, because we obviously a lot of us know each other in here. Pretty much we all do in a way. Um, so Cintrator Hill is really how I even got to know a lot of you
Mhm.
guys. Um, been on my podcast a few times. I actually met her through Tom, the Eye of Jupiter guys. All Sin, if you don't know Tom yet, and the Eye of Jupiter,
Mhm.
um, give him some love. Give his podcast some love. He's a great guy. He's the reason why I started doing this. Um, so it all starts with Tom. From Tom to it's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon here. Okay, we've got it all started with the one, and it just went all kinds of crazy from there, and I'm very grateful it did. Um, because you guys are amazing. Uh, the other person that is probably not in chat right now, but you mentioned earlier, um, Mark Elliott Fultz. I really want to
Mhm.
give him a shout out. He's an
Yeah.
amazing guy. I gotta tell you, I'm not going to spoil the beans. You guys go back and watch the episodes that he's in, because I've interviewed him a couple of times now. Um, but this is somebody who, I don't know, how would you extraordinary? I don't use that
You
word
can't.
very often.
You really, people ask me all the time about him, and I'm like, you can't put words into it. He is
Mm-mm.
everything. And you never
And
know what
then
you're gonna
some,
get. Yeah.
and then some. Yeah, Mark is an amazing person. He's kind of the person that all of us have. Uh, he refers to uh, us as his yellow ducklings that he has
Yep.
to.
Yep.
It's awesome. So Mark is kind of like our spiritual father slash grandfather for some people, and
Right.
in a sense, so it's kind of amazing. It's kind of very amazing. Um, I don't know. You'll notice as we go along that this is definitely a group that has a family bond at this point. I'm so
Mhm.
grateful for that. Um, I want to make sure, and Lydia is new to coming in here, guys. So I appreciate the fact that you're making her feel very welcome tonight. That's very important. And who is Lydia now?
Oh, I'm not sure. Me. No, so Lydia and I've she is amazing. I met her a while back at the asylum. And we've been dating ever since, and she keeps me in line. She she is gonna kill me.
That's
Um,
great.
she is now my full-time assistant because, like I said, I'm terrible with memories. Literally, I have to ask her all the time what day it is, what am I doing, et cetera, et cetera. So anytime it has anything to do with dates, I said you have to talk to her. And people will think I'm kidding. I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. Everything goes through her. So she keeps me somewhat organized ish. It's hard to do, but she tries.
It's funny because this is like really. one of those. This is a first, really, in a way, because I really did not get a chance to spend any time talking with Lydia yet, but I can tell our connection is going to be interesting, and it's going to be
Oh
a
yeah.
good one. Um, Paranormal Paul, thank you for coming in tonight. I haven't seen you in a minute, dude, but I'm going to see you face to face coming up in a few days here. Um, there's a couple of things that I'm thinking about here. I want to go into with you about this next question is going to be a little bit of something that's not really a spoiler alert by any means, but it is a behind the scenes question.
Okay.
But before we get started with that, I want to give you guys who are watching and have not subbed to me yet, just a little heads up. I know you are watching my content. I know you haven't subbed yet. That's okay. I love you anyway, but hey, hit that sub button so you can get notifications. You can also find out so much more by paying attention to that sub button. Trust me, it's magical. It's almost as magical as this journey is. And for those of you that do hit the sub button, give me a comment saying, hey, I subbed. How about that? I love you guys. I do. So let's talk about for a minute this question.
Uh-huh.
Can you share a behind the scenes moment where a small unplanned detail made a big impact?
Oh man. Oh, let me think on that one.
Yeah, I don't ask easy questions from
No, you
people.
do not. I feel like there's always a lot. Because the thing is about the paranormal is that it doesn't turn on, it doesn't turn off. So there's so many times, like most locations, where you'll go to and you're just minding your business, trying to get ready, and Lydia gives me crap for it all the time. Something will happen, and I just start freaking out, trying to buy or grab every piece of equipment around me, throwing stuff across the room, trying to get a camera. Like literally, it's ridiculous because I've got so much stuff, and I'm just throwing stuff, and she's just sitting there like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Something just happened. We need to, we need to get this on film." So there's always stuff like that, but the asylum would be a big one, because after I first went there, I was part of a documentary, and after that, I was like, I don't really want to deal, or I don't want to go there anymore. There's other places, there's other things that need to be done. I'm not worried about the asylum anymore. Um, but I started having very strange things happen to me. Um, like for example, one of the weirdest ones. So when we went back to film our daytime stuff, I went to go out to my car and my trunk was wide open. I was like, why is my trunk open? That's so strange. I was like, all right, whatever. And then I remember getting in my car because I was asked to go get batteries. So I get in my car, I sit there, and then I don't know the time loss, I guess. I looked down. I was like, "Oh man, it's early. I'm going to get out of here early," because back for that project, I literally got off work at 11 p.m. or no, got off at like 7 a.m. Drove straight there, filmed, and then drove directly back to work and just went back to work. So there was some reasons why I probably wasn't all with it. But then I was like, all right, so I started my car, put in my address, my GPS to look over, and everyone's cars are still there. I'm like, what the heck are they still doing here? So I walked back inside, and they were like, hey, did you get those batteries? I'm like, the what? So that was a strange experience. But then after that, I would see my trunk of my car just being open every now and then. And it was so weird. But there was one time where I really made the connection when I was pulling out of Taco Bell, which is, the best place in the world. I was pulling out and I was talking about the asylum, and I pull out and I'm driving. I look at my rearview mirror. I'm like, man, it's really dark out. Why can I not? I can't see. And then I realized that my trunk was open. And then after that, I started realizing that when I had energy or thoughts put towards the asylum, I would come out and find my trunk open. I don't know what the connection is, but that was prior to me returning back to film and everything else, deciding to go back. So I had a lot of strange things like that kind of drove me back into revisiting, which gave me this new. I do have stock in Taco Bell. My life goal, 100%, is to one day get sponsored by Taco Bell. I don't care what I have to do. That is my life goal. But yeah, so weird things like that kind of drew me back to it. So there's also things like that happen. I can tell one other that involves Mark Elliott Fultz, because this is part of the episode that I said probably isn't going to happen because I didn't get anything and the history wasn't that great. But this is one time where Mark freaked out the owner so bad she didn't know what to do. He asked me, he said, "Hey, you need to ask the owner about this ring. You need to describe this ring." He's like, "She has it." And I asked the owner. She was like, "I've never heard of that, never seen that, don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "Okay." So the day comes where we're going to investigate, and she calls me frantic. And I'm like, "What's going on?" And she was like, "This ring fell out from behind my mirror, and I've never seen it my entire life." And it was the exact ring that Mark described. And now it's like, okay, now we have a different angle here. Now there's something going on. So there's always, with the paranormal, there's always something that happens prior to getting to the location or prior to investigating that tends to kind of throw a wrench into everything, you know?
Exactly. And it's very interesting that that fell over a mirror too. I'm not going to
Yeah.
go into any more of that because if you know about the mirrors. So let me just clarify something, guys, because I realize that if you're tuning in for the first time and you don't know the whole story of like some of the places that we're talking about, so when I'm trying to say this with a straight face because it's
Okay.
so difficult.
Okay.
So, okay, when you went back and said that you met Lydia at the asylum,
Uh-huh.
let's clarify that the asylum is actually a haunted building, is no longer in use. They were not patients at an asylum. But the way that you said that, kind of, I was like,
I mean, it could have been an actual asylum that we were both in. That would not surprise me. But no, this one was not currently operating. I think they actually left her behind after they closed down, and she just kind of stayed there. Um, but no.
wow. Wow.
Hey, we're all crazy. Let's be real. In our own ways.
I mean, to be fair, like one of the first conversations you and I ever had, you sent me a voice message that said, "Why are all my friends weird?"
Sounds about right.
I mean, I kind of can't even argue with that because I personally have weird tattooed all over my body.
Right.
That's the only one. Oh yeah. You know what? I gotta tell you guys, like, we need to get you and Sin and Mark on together one
I would
night
love that.
for people, so people will understand the connection and understand the vibe that goes on with this group here, because I think having all the components together here will give them a whole thing. And if I can convince Lydia to join us, that would be amazing. But we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see. It's up to you, but we'll see. I'll figure out a way. We're going to squeeze all of us in here one day.
Awesome.
They're amazing chemistry. It really is. So I've decided that there's I'm trying to decide which one of these are my favorite questions to ask now. But one of the things I definitely want to do is start like getting that one question that everybody gets asked, and it's so hard for me
Uh
to
huh.
really make that big choice right now. Um, but one of the things I want, especially you, I want to hear what your response to this is going to be, because I think I know you well enough to know that this is a question that's perfect for you. If someone listens to your work or watches your work years from now, what do you hope they feel or take away from it?
Oh, okay. Um, for me, it's it's all about this whole we're all here in this thing together, current, past, living, dead. We're all part of this kind of ecosystem, whether we know it or not. And it's all about love and compassion, right? Not just for the people who are here, but for the people who have passed. And it's all about treating everyone with respect and learning from one another. If it's someone that you don't agree with, even if it's someone you don't like, you can still learn from that person one way or another to better your life. And once you better your life, you inevitably better the lives of people around you. And that just compounds to a huge degree. Um, I was actually just talking about this the other day, because the reason why I had come back to the asylum was due to some people who I believe you recently came to contact with, was a Middle Aged and Creeped Out podcast. And for about a year or two now, I said I don't have any interest in going back there until they did an event there. And I was like, well, you know what? I want to meet them. I want to hang out with them. I'm going to go. Then like I said, I met Lydia. Then she kind of helped me decide to start this whole filming thing. Um, then I kind of hit a massive brick wall about a week or two before filming. I was like, I don't think I can do this. She pushed me to do it. So I did it. And through this, I met Mark, and then I met you. And then all these things came from one small event. And this fact that these guys decided to start this podcast had this chain reaction that changed my entire life. And once we start realizing that we all can do that and we can all have that impact, whether it's the way we treat people or like what you're doing or whatever we love to do, whatever our passion is, that's going to be powerful. You know, we need to start realizing that our impact isn't necessarily what we directly see, but whatever we do, it has an impact and it compounds because every single person that I met from there on out, it changed their lives to some degree as well. And then the people that they interact with, they interacted with them differently or whatever it may be, and it could have changed their life. Like we're all in this together. Like I don't know how to stress it enough. And everything that we do has an impact. So that's what I want people to know.
It's so funny. Like, we have not known each other that long, really, but how much we know about each other now is an
Right.
amazing thing. Like, that was the exact answer that I knew you were going to give, and
I
that's
read
one
the
of the
script
reasons why.
before.
Did you read the script?
Yeah, I read
Really,
it.
you're good for somebody that don't read books, then, because like I put that together
Well,
like
the
an
emojis
hour
help me.
before.
I like the smiley face and so you put in there. It helped me out. I like pictures.
I literally did not even have an idea what was going to happen until like about 3 hours ago, to be honest with you. But hold on a second. I need to do something here right quick. I was not expecting that, but okay. We'll just do this right here. Yeah, maybe. Am I going to do
Uh-oh.
that?
Is there an earthquake?
Well, no. I I don't know what I did earlier, but or what I thought I was doing earlier, but I didn't need I didn't need my port to put multiple plugs in, and
Gotcha.
so yeah, I need to like rehook my computer up because it's going. I need juice.
Ah,
That would not be good at
right.
before the hour is over with.
Right.
Um, Hey, so here, before we get into the last part of the night here, I want to talk about this for a minute because I think this is another thing that is one of my favorite questions to ask people, and I don't get to ask it enough because I really have forgotten about it until I went back over my scriptings, and I never mind. If you could visit any haunted place in the world with no limits, where would you go to?
Chernobyl, always and forever Chernobyl. One day I will go. That's been my dream since I was probably like 12 years old.
I'm really glad I asked that because that's kind of one of my places that keeps coming up. Um, yeah,
It is
dude,
such a bucket list.
it is, and it's so funny because a lot of people are like, "Wow, is that even a thing still?" Yeah, it is still a thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's very much a thing, uh, and it's an ongoing thing. Uh, I don't think I'd get too close to the elephant's foot, but I would like to. I would like to go there and
Oh, I
explore.
mean, if I come out with 4 arms, I don't care. I need to go.
Mm, I kind of feel that to a point.
I mean, it could be like one of those things that the government tells you to stay away because you turn into a superhero. You don't know. We got to find out. There are questions we need answers to.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh man, maybe if I get exposed to radiation, I can actually become a singer.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. Are you going to say that Marvel has been lying all these years? I mean, come on.
what did the turtles do to become turtles?
What?
The Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I was gonna say I think turtles are just born turtles. They don't have to do it. There's no initiation. But the Ninja Turtles, okay. Um,
Are there more turtles than the ninjas?
I've heard rumors. I don't know,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't remember. They met a talking rat.
And they drank some water or something. I don't
I
know.
think so. It was probably radiation, probably from Chernobyl.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles are exactly yes. And I forget that there are other turtles out there, to be honest with you. I really do. Um, there's look, any creature that has a pizza fetish is my thing. Okay, gotta say it. Um, okay, so I want to know a few things I haven't really asked you before. First of
Okay,
all, what haunted place was the first one you ever visited?
Waverly Hills. It was
Low
it
key jealous.
was absolutely phenomenal, and that's when I got instantly hooked. That was a big one to start out at, but Waverly Hills is amazing.
I've heard. I have not been there yet. I'm low key jealous.
Oh, we'll go.
What?
We'll go.
Oh, cool! Yay! I'm excited. I am because I've been wanting to go there. Favorite piece of gear?
Ooh, camera all day, every day. That way you have visual, you have audio. Just give me a camera and I'm good.
I
Good old
felt
night
that was
vision.
it. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. See, I felt that. I wasn't sure, but I felt that. Sage crystals or pure guts?
I don't know what any of those are.
My God. Okay.
The number of times I've been yelled at for that is insane, but I have a buddy named Matthew Bird. He's an amazing man, and he always tells me you can't play in the tar expect to come out clean. I'm like, well, I don't expect it, but I'm just. Eh.
It's okay. I'm not going to yell at you.
It's all right. I could see it in your eyes.
No, 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 no. Look, first of all, I'm one of those people that believe too that not everybody, I think some people are naturally protected. That's what I'm going to say about that. Um, yeah. Most comforting thing you bring on a trip.
Most comforting thing. I feel like if I don't say Lydia, I'm gonna be in trouble.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that unless Sin is there.
I mean, okay, so I think Lydia would even agree that Sin kind of is the top of the comfort food chain here for everybody. we all are kind of Sin fans. That's the way it works. Spookiest sound you've ever recorded.
The Blackford Jail. I don't even think it made it it didn't even make it in the video. I don't know. Sen can probably elaborate on what that sound was, but I have no idea. It was a terrifying, guttural, screaming. I don't know. Like it had me thinking for a second. Like if monsters exist, this is exactly what they would sound like. But it was. I mean, I was literally editing that video late at night, and it freaked me out. That never happens.
Ooh. Now you got me curious. Sweet or salty snacks when editing?
I am not a snacks person. I'd rather have a burger. I'll just eat 12 meals a day.
Wow. I figured you would say Taco Bell, but
well, yeah, but yeah, if we can consider that a snack, 100%.
Wow. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, again, I consider pizza a snack.
Right.
If you could have a ghost co-host, who would it be?
A ghost co-host. Oh man. Vincent Price?
Oh, good one.
That would be cool, right?
It would. Do you know what day he died on?
I do not. Feel like you're about to tell me though.
You seriously don't know this?
Not off the top of my head.
He died on Halloween.
I was hoping that's where it was going.
Yeah. Him and I believe River Phoenix also died on Halloween. Don't quote me on that one.
Okay.
What's scarier, a haunted attic or a haunted basement?
Honestly, neither to me, but I'll go with attic because it's always way too hot or way too cold. So that's the one that I leave first. It is so difficult to investigate attics. You get one of two extremes. So I spend a lot less time in attics, and basements are more comforting to me because I like that cool air.
See, I like the basements, but I think of haunted attics as having mice and haunted basements as having
bats.
Having snakes. And that's what terrifies me.
Oh my god, dude. Okay, so I'm gonna go on a quick side rant.
Okay.
So a while back, it'd been about a year or so ago, me and a group of friends, including the wonderful, the amazing, the fantastic, the young, the great Since Raider Hill, we went to Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. And I had, prior to that, I was having dreams about this place in, what do you call it? The Hole. And I was having dreams about this cell. And I'd never seen the place. Whenever I go into a place, I try not to read about it. I don't look at pictures, et cetera, et cetera. I want to go in there with a clear mind. And we went there, and we were going on a little tour, just walking through. And I was telling Cindy, I was like, this is the cell I was talking about. And she said, look at it. And it had my name carved on it. Like the only thing that was carved into it was my name. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's it. I got to be locked down here tonight. Like I was so excited about it. So then we get ready to get, ready to investigate. And the guy told her, she was like, oh, by the way, she was like, just be careful when you're going down into the hole. We have rattlesnakes. And I was like, I'm never going down there ever again. I'm done. Not doing it. I'm not risking seeing a rattlesnake. Not happening.
Yeah, no, no,
So I didn't
I
get to
don't.
investigate down there. But
Yeah, I
that's where
don't
I
do
draw the
that.
line.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100%.
I don't care if it's a gardener snake. I'm not playing.
Yeah, I don't do the snake thing at all very
No,
well.
no.
Do not, and I don't. Yeah. Um, and rattlesnakes are the worst. Uh, Favorite horror movie that gets it right about hauntings. I
Oh,
did
that
not come
gets
up
it
with this question,
right.
guys. That question I did not come up with.
Ooh, that gets it right. I mean, to maybe see, probably my favorite horror movie is The Shining, and I think
Mm,
that that does get it right in a lot of ways. Um, as far as like, like when he goes into the bar and everything, and the bartender's still there talking to him, how they're like able to interact with each other. It's as if they're still there, and also the whole idea of someone losing their sanity. Because
mhm.
sometimes some of these locations, people are wondering, am I schizophrenic? Am I this? Am I that? Especially when a lot of times only one person in the family is affected at the beginning. Maybe they're more sensitive or whatever it may be. And no one else is seeing this stuff. So you start to lose your sanity and it's kind of a downhill spiral. Um, so I would say maybe The Shining.
Yeah, you know what? So I found this question and added it because I found it interesting. And I got to agree with you. I think because I find most of the horror genre on hauntings to be so not accurate.
Right.
And I think you're right on that. I think The Shining is probably one, if not the only example I can ever think of that would be closest. Okay, so here's something that is probably technically I can't really say that we know what the conclusive answer to this is yet because you're not technically done with season 1.
Correct.
But one word to describe the feeling after finishing a season.
Tired?
Okay,
That's
let me pull out the counselor in me here. Let's use our feeling words.
um yeah, I mean that's all I can really say because for me, once I finish a project, I mean I'm not even completely finished with this one. I'm already scouting places for season 2. So literally as soon as this gets done, I'm gonna be in Tennessee filming with the amazing, the wonderful Centrator Hill and Mark Elliott Foltz, which I'm insanely excited about. So yeah, I don't really take time to have any feelings other than hey, we got to get back to work.
I can see that. I can see that. Wow. So I gotta tell you, like, first of all, thank you guys for the compliments on the questions. This is kind of this show is in so many ways this episode tonight is a in so many ways a turning point in a way of where I'm wanting to take uh, Magical Journey. So I figured who best um, to kind of welcome it in and get a little bit of a feel for how that works and operates, than to have Austin join me for this because quite honestly, like I would not feel comfortable changing courses with just anybody. Um, and so I was like, this is what I've got booked coming up. This is where I need to kind of get a feel for how this is going to work and how I feel doing it. Because change is something I strive for, but it was kind of a little. I was not really sure at first whether this was going to work out very well in the sense of the question answer setting, but I feel comfortable with it. Hopefully you guys, obviously you did, by your comments tonight, feel comfortable with it. So that is kind of, that's a big step tonight, definitely, for the upcoming history of this channel. So I appreciate you. You know what, Austin, I appreciate you for so many reasons.
Oh, it's
So
mutual. Trust me,
many
it's
reasons.
mutual.
Um, I gotta tell you guys, like Sin, Austin, Mark, Pam, my mod, oh my goodness, my whole mod team, and Tom. I
It's an
mean,
amazing group.
the list is extensive right now, which is very interesting
Hmm.
because honestly, I always had the theology of keep your group small and keep it close. And even though in the scope of the universe, we are a small group. This is probably the largest group of people that I've had in a while that is this close.
Hmm.
Um, and I really appreciate that. Um, I'm going to ask you the question, though, that I really have been asking everybody to kind of close out the nights. What are your final thoughts and your final words you would like to leave with us tonight?
Ooh, sounds like I'm about to be executed. If I have any final words.
For tonight.
No, I mean, I appreciate, number one, not only you having me on, but like you said, your friendship and everything else. We have such an amazing group of people around us, and that is so insanely important. And I guess kind of my final thoughts is, looking at the people around me, you appreciate the hell out of those people. And if you're not there yet, if you don't have that group of people, they will come, they will find you. And when they do, just do not let them go and do not take that for granted because it's something so insanely special. Like I said earlier, one person changed this entire trajectory for me, and I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for that one person from, a
Mhm.
couple years ago. So, really just kind of trust the process, love those people around you, and just do your best, man. That's all we're doing, right? We're all doing our best. Sometimes our best sucks, but it's all right because eventually it won't suck.
Yeah. Yeah. And the best part of all of it is when you have a group of supportive friends, you can still have those days where everything is a hot mess and
Yep,
they're still going to love you and stand by you regardless.
absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to drop you back for a moment while I close this out. If you would hang out for a moment and we'll chat for a minute before we we
Absolutely.
depart for the night. Awesome. All right, and thank you again so much,
Oh, thank you.
Austin. Wow, guys. So I mean, if you've never met Austin before and you like if tonight doesn't tell you why so many people love this guy, you'll never get it. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Um, just the approach alone to the investigation, the humanity, the compassion, um, the thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys too. I really do. When I say that, that I include my mods in my circle, you guys know that, right? Um, at any rate, before I turn this into a big old mushy fest, because I'm in my feels right now. Sorry. I want you guys to remember again, if you have not been to magicaljourney.com, do know that I am in the process again of updating the site some more. There was a new interview that I did on another show this past week. If you're on Facebook, go to Magical Journey. I have my profile page is Magical Journey. It is a business profile. There's also Magical Journey, the group. Go on there and find that. I'm not going to give you any hints where to look. I want you to go into the group and find that link, because I'm kind of mean that way. Actually, no, I just want you to join that group and utilize it. Look at it. There's some good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, James R. Hood posts some amazing links in that group. You guys show him some love in those posts, because he works hard to give us quality posts, and he shares some incredible information. That's really important too. All right, you guys, final thoughts for the night. Love each other, hold each other dear and near, and may your journey always be magical.
I've waited for so long to see when you come back to me. Through the wars and battles that were lost, we're born again, it's you and me. The rest is history. Past lives. Past lives. Did we dance together on different floors in 1500 or 1504? We must have been lovers, we must have been something in our past lives.